Hello, hello. We are here with the first episode of The Dragon's Den. I am your host, Shao Kahn, Dragon's Fury, my government name, which you will not know. Which of any of those you can call me, but just for the sake, you can call me Dragon. I also have Infernal Drake in with Magma in the wings. Uh,
Up. Yellow.
so if you did not listen to the teaser that I released, shame on you. But just to catch you up, this is a podcast of me sharing the stories of my gaming career over the 30 years that I have been around. I have not been gaming all 30 years, unfortunately. That would have been something.
You weren't gaming from the womb?
I wasn't gaming from the womb. Um, actually, no, that's not true. Technically, I was, but that is a dark joke that I'm not willing to share. If you so choose to get an answer after we're done, I will tell you. But yeah, no, there's a dark joke in that actually.
Oh, dear.
no. Oh no.
Well, we're gonna keep this PG because at one point I do want my nephews to listen to this.
Are they gonna hear that? Be like,
They're gonna be like, "What?" And it's like,
Hey,
"Nah."
yo.
Uncle Dragon, what are you talking
What
about?
what are you talking about? I was like, no, don't worry about it. So we're going to kick things off with the continuation of the story that I gave in the teaser to catch you up. It is going to be the journey that I took to become a demigod as a character in Skyrim. And to kick things off with a bang, we're going to do the most infamous one for those who already know this story, and it is the toe story.
All about the toes.
All about the toes. So first we're going to need to do a little bit of backtracking, and that is just to catch people up who actually haven't played Skyrim before, to give you enough of an idea to understand what's about to be said. So you need to understand that to do what I did, you had to start from like level 1. There was no room for any deviation from the plan. There was a video that I was following. They had a strict set of things that I had to do so that I can exploit all of the things that were already in play to allow me to become a demigod. And it was painful. One of those steps was to boost alchemy, and that's for making potions, poisons, and that's pretty much it.
All the drugs.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you could technically make drugs.
Yep.
That being said, I wanted to maximize my skills being leveled up, and so in order to do that, you would have had to make potions slash poisons that were at a higher level to get the maximum amount of points. And to do that, you had to make a health potion, which was the strongest one that you could make. But using the exploits, you were able to make it ridiculously strong. Like numbers that were stringing out on your display that normally they shouldn't reach, but if you did certain things in a certain way, you were able to make it stupid. And that potion involved an ingredient of giant's toes. Now, this particular ingredient isn't something that's very common. Giants are common, but their toes aren't.
And you gotta join the astronaut program.
And they're so this is how much this story like triggers me. It's because just other things being said will just piss me off. So as Infernal so graciously gave, the astronaut program is something that happened to you when you were not a high enough level to take the initial damage from a giant, which was stupid. Because giants were, let's see, I want to say level 15 and above that you could fight it. 15 being the minimum where you wouldn't just get launched. If you were anywhere lower than that, I could have my numbers
you
wrong.
still get launched.
You,
Trust me.
You okay? All right. I guess from the source. Never mind. I had my numbers wrong. My bad. So you, if you didn't have enough resistance, you send it, because it was just a charge power down, like down smash for anyone who's a Smash player that may be listening. Just the ultimate down smash, as if you were at like 99%. Like you're leaving the ring.
Full send.
Just full send. There's no, coming back from gone. And it wasn't the flying that killed you, it was the landing. That's if you survive the initial. Usually you just die instantly and then your body goes whee, just gonzo. So obviously I knew about this by the time I was making this endeavor. So I had to do the slow way to level up. So I started working on my other stuff like smithing and enchanting and, combat for what I was going to become, which was a destruction mage. Someone wants to know about you. I don't know. And
who are you people?
Who are you? And so I would level up my destruction magic, and which is mainly fire, electricity, and ice types. And then if you had mods, then you could do other stuff. So we would get to a certain point where I can fight giants. Now let me look up the giant's toes. I'm trying to remember what was the drop rate of the giant's toes.
10% or so.
Let's see. Let's go to the wiki.
It was pretty low, even though they had toes.
It was low. It was very low. Let's see. They don't have the drop rate on here. Come on. Well, it was low enough that you didn't get one every kill. So that alone can already tell you how annoying it is. That if you kill a giant, you're not guaranteed one. So you just had to keep fighting them. And the thing is that giants only showed up in like pairs. At their camps, you might get lucky with like a third one, and that was only because one of them was wandering from like another camp and just kind of ended up there at the time and was like passing through. But best you got was 2 giants and their pet mammoth. And well, yeah, it's a mammoth. Self-explanatory. Don't fuck with the mammoth.
That cows.
That too. So I'm going through this. Now, I'm doing this when me and Infernal were roommates. So he knew about this process. I told him at the beginning that I was going to do this because at this point I had been playing Skyrim for like years. I've done all sorts of stuff. I was like a stupid leveled assassin. I had did an archer. I don't know if I had did the necromancy yet. If I tried that yet before I did the demigod, I can't remember. But
I think you dabbled in it, but you didn't stick with it.
Because it sucked. Like being a vampire. Vampires suck, and that's not a pun, even though it is. Unfortunately, I hate puns. Fun facts. So I'm doing that, and I am spending stupid amounts of time on this process, because this isn't just something that's like, oh hey, you level it up and you get like a couple levels. No, to get to where I needed to be was well into like the 80s for the skill, and at that point you're getting tiny XP from things. And so yeah, I had to buy potions, I had to buy ingredients, I was everywhere. It was a long process. But what makes this so infuriating is that the amount of kills I was doing on these giants, I should have had more toes. And so the infamous line that came from my room when I was just about had it with searching for these giant toes before I just said, screw it, we're just going to every merchant, general merchant that's in this area and every hold and every like side place. I just looked up any place I could find it and just bought up that material and went like that instead of just grinding out thing. But the line was, "Give me your toes. I can see them on your feet."
I mean, yeah. I mean, they have 5 toes. Like
It,
they can at least spare one.
right. Now, what makes that line so ridiculous is that there was no context for anyone not in my room at that time. So
Yeah,
you
imagine
have
like imagine hearing this on the other side of an apartment, just like you're just chilling. All of a sudden, give me your toes. It's like it's like what?
so you only have two things you can do. You can pretend like it didn't happen, or you do what Infernal did, which was yell back and said, "No, why would I give you my toes?"
Hey, my toes.
So I'm just like, oh my god. And yeah, and that has lived in infamy rent free in my head of one of the most triggering things that I had to go through because it just kept going like that. I would fight them. I hadn't gotten any drops of their toes for like 6, 7 kills, and I was like, at least one of them should have dropped by now. Nope, not a zilcho. So that is the infamous toe story for the part of my quest of becoming a demigod. That leads me into uh, something I want to start, which is favorite lines. And it doesn't just have to be like from a game, just favorite lines from anything. And we have a bunch on this list. So this should last for fairly amount of episodes that we do to go through. But Vernal, what just with the off dome, what is a favorite video game line?
Mm. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is give me a weapon. Or sorry, it's I need a weapon
I
from
need
Halo.
from Halo.
Yep, the Halo 1 when you're still on the Pillar of Autumn, very beginning.
That is a throwback. Cause when did the original Halo drop?
Ooh. Let's see. Oh, Halo 1 release date. November 15th, 2001.
Ooh, baby. So what's that? Just shy of 22 full years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. That was a significant portion of your life right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Halo was a big part of my gaming career.
Yeah, I hated that. I hated it.
No,
I
yeah,
hated it so much.
yeah, you were on the other camp, COD.
Yeah, I was team COD. I was team COD. And now what trips me out is that to this day, I could not tell you what I did not like about Halo back then. Like, and it was an adamant hatred. I still don't like it now, but that's for different reasons. But the original reasoning, I could not tell you why I adamantly hated Halo. Like carnal sin kind of hate. Like even
Because I mean, the story wasn't like I don't know, like was it the story? Was it the gameplay?
I like I said, I don't know. My best guess is that all of the above. That is my best guess. And that it just wasn't for me in that sense that I wanted to be a part of it. That or it was like all the a-holes were playing like Halo at the time for me. Because mind you, what 2001, like early 2000s, that's like formative years for me. And back then, being a gaming nerd, that wasn't the move. And I'm bad now. Like, you know, I'll go off the handle for no reason just for the sake of it. But back then, I had no control whatsoever. I was just immediately mad. Like, if you even said something remotely that sideways or something I didn't like, out of here. Like, I was canceling people before it was a thing. Like, you were just removed completely from my ambition, my existence, my like everything. I just actively
Be gone from my sight.
essentially. So for me, the first one would have to be my boy Ziggs.
Oh boy.
And that being, do you want to know how to disarm a bomb?
It speaks to his soul.
It speaks to his soul. Because Ziggs being from League of Legends, for those who do not know the name, what comes after is what makes it my favorite. Because Ziggs is a tiny little magical being, and he's functionally immortal. So after he says, do you want to know how to disarm a bomb? He proceeds to eat it. And then it explodes.
That was love at first sight.
And yep, that was love at first sight. That was when I decided to don the title that I now have as Father of all the Yordles. He was my first, like, and it just kind of spans from there. And then, you know, the close second being my favorite daughter, Lulu, and that tasted purple. One, because purple's my favorite color, and two, it reminds me of Warehouse 13.
Yeah, true. God, that was such a good show.
It's so good. Did they ever get a spin-off game?
Spin-off game?
Yeah, because, like, I'm trying to think, because, like, Doctor Who had, like, a little game that was, like...
a VR game.
Right. And I don't know if Warehouse got one, like, during that same little era of, like, different shows getting, like, little tiny mini games. Can't remember. That would be a great game. You're really going around trying to get all the artifacts and stuff, and then, like, trying not to get whammied.
Get stuck in the mirror.
Oh, God. That'd be rough. Oh, God. Ew. Anyway. Which...
Yeah, that episode was something.
Which leads us perfectly into the next thing, which I call send help. And this is where we share times where either A, we should not have gotten out of it alive, or B, was so dead that someone should have sent help. Like, you were confident about going in, and when it was happening, you were immediately regretting it. And
Or C, you played with AGS.
Later times. There was one before. So let's play a guessing game. Infernal, do you want to know, or do you think you know which one I'm going to bring up? Which event where it is the send help? And unfortunately, I wish it didn't.
Well, I am part of this.
Oh no, it was all your fault.
Blast cone.
No, that was a good one. That was definitely a send help moment for sure. God.
Next thing I think of is the balls.
Oh no, that
Because we needed help.
that was a send help. We definitely needed help on that. That we'll circle back to that one, but let's give context to the blast cone one. So how do we put it in like simple terms of what happened without having to like explain all of the map that is League's jungle?
A little plant in the jungle that can make you go wee. Or scream, depending on the way it's used.
Okay, maybe not as that simple. Oh, here we go.
No,
Okay.
I mean, you said simple.
Fine.
I oblige.
I will give you that one. Like, that one was my fault. I should have known better. Okay, so since we don't have this on video, we have the incident on video somewhere, but I meant for those who are listening, we haven't gotten to the point of doing video episodes yet. I would like to do those in the future, but as it stands, only audio. So use your imagination, use your brain. Here's the scenario. So we have the blast cone, which is a tiny little red plant that is in the center area of where we are generally standing. This is a omnidirectional interaction, so depending on which way you hit it determines which way you fly. So you have myself and Infernal near the plant area in its blast radius. Just behind me is a wall, which pretty much, we were technically in enemy territory already, but this wall would be even deeper into enemy territory. And we cannot see what is on the other side of said wall in enemy territory. So, I think we had just gotten out of like a fight recently, and that was the reason why we were up there in the first place, and we were proceeding to exit enemy territory.
Vacate the dance floor.
And then our dear friend Infernal here had the great idea to pull a prank on me, which was to hit the blast cone from our standing positions, which would send us in opposite directions. Him, based off of, imagining we're looking dead on it from a top view, him going left and me going right over the wall.
Into the fangs of death.
And then, so as I'm flying over the wall, our vision of what is over the wall becomes available. Two of which I discover that the enemies of the territory that we are in are there, doing whatever they were doing there at the time. So, from their perspective, they just hear boom and see a tiny furball come flying over and landing in the center of them. Two of which they took great offense and proceeded to murder me.
Yeah, you gotta eat them pretty quick.
Aggressively. And to fill in the blank of the path, now this is all of what? 4 or 5 seconds, because time doesn't exist the same as it does inside League of Legends. So to me, it was an eternity of me flying through the air, seeing the enemy, and screaming at Infernal, "You've killed me. What have you done? You've killed me." Because there was no way I was getting out of this. Like, I could have believed with all of the faith of every deity of anything in existence, past, present, or future, would not have been enough to get me out of this. And all you hear is the cackling, and somewhere in there, a half-hearted apology.
It wasn't half-hearted. It was very meaningful.
I was too busy dying to believe it. In the midst of that, of him realizing what he has done. And so yes, that was definitely a send help moment. But no, that is not the one that I hold a grudge against you for.
Now I am curious.
So, it was in... Because you're gonna know as soon as I say the title of the game. It was the original Overwatch.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Now it's starting to ring a bell, isn't it?
I mean, hey, you were able to do your job.
You can go roll over in the grave that you made for me on that day to then proceed to resurrect me and then put me back in the grave.
You got the kill, though.
No, this is not a silver lining moment, sir. You murdered me and then murdered me again. So, now for the context. Overwatch. Can't explain that one to you. If you don't know about it, Google it. It's a marvelous tool. But I was playing a character named Junkrat, who is a explosive user. So basically just kind of a spammy kind of thing. You just explosive balls in the area, damage, more damage on impact, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Not important. Infernal is Mercy, and as the name implies, was a healer. And back then, her, oh wait, no, this was the change, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was after.
This was after the change. Okay, so not as far back of when this ability was her ultimate, when this was just a regular ability that would have a stupid long cooldown. And so this ability is Resurrection. So, as it, as the name says, brings you back. So, I, being the pyromaniac that I am, and that character, went into a scenario that I should not have been in, to begin with. It was not a good idea at all, but I was having so much fun in the process, because there's a rule that I say when fighting against a Junkrat. Do not go into enclosed spaces, because that gives less error to be done on the Junkrat's part, because there is not that much space for you to dodge. So it's just explosive to the face, face, bouncing you off of a wall with the landmine. Just gonzo. So I had rushed in. I was like, ooh, this is my place. This is it. I can do things, make things happen. I did exactly that. But it's give and take. So I took some lives, but I had to give mine. And so I was like, all right, I did what I came to do. It's fine. We're good. I am going to, take a breather, recollect my thoughts, and wait till I respawn. And then we see him.
Wee-woo.
We have the luxurious, the angelic Mercy flying in, risking her life to bring back her fallen comrade. Mind you, the people that I just disrespected and that had put me in the ground were still around. How he managed to get in there, resurrect me, and get out without them taking him out is beyond me. I just think they had a personal grudge against me, or they're just like, we can't hurt the Mercy, she's a woman. I don't know.
Well, this was before they nerfed her new res to the ground. So, I was able to res you in less than a second and be like, all right, bye.
So he was in there and outie. But I did not have a means to get outie. So I just see the angelic lights around my body and I'm screaming. So that's one thing that most people know, that when I play, I have a bad habit of just yelling all the time. It's in my DNA. Me and my sister talk really loud when we are emotionally charged. It just happens. The more emotion, the louder we get. That being said, I am screaming at the top of my lungs. And I don't have a very deep voice to begin with, as you can tell. So it just went up. It was just up. Not really a girly shriel, but it was up there. Or whatever the hell I just said.
That beats me.
So I'm just, and it's me just yelling, no, no, why would you res me here? They're still here. Just a
Basically,
slew of
you
words.
pulled a Cleveland just now.
No. Except I wasn't in a bathtub and I wasn't coming down from the second story. I was coming out of the grave, dirty. Like, they just laid the coffin down and put the dirt over, and then I pulled a Kill Bill and just got forcefully pulled out of the coffin, out of the ground, back into the fight, to proceed to die instantly. It was terrible. I still hold a grudge. Because unfortunately, this pattern hasn't stopped. It wasn't just a one-off. There's been too many other times that we've played games together that at any point you've had a hand in my death. And I don't know how to feel about that.
Literally anytime we played TFT.
Facts. But
That
more
day.
people join the roster on that. Frankly, it's not so much of Infernal who does it. It's usually Sacred.
True.
Because he knows too much about TFT. Also, TFT loves him. Whatever TFT gacha god that needs to be prayed to, they're praying to him too. Because Sacred is chilling on the sofa with the gacha god, and he's like, yo, can I get that, prayer bonus? And the gacha god's like, obviously, like, go out there and just cause havoc. And Sacred is just like, you don't have to tell me twice. And then he proceeds to just go and disrespect everybody in the lobby, us included.
I think it's a revenge for the TCG gods not liking him.
I mean, it's not like he deserved it then either. We know about the Harpies. That wasn't... It was the Harpies and what was it, Fortune Lady?
Yeah, Fortunates are his main deck.
Yeah, no, we knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to disrespect us even back then. Obviously, you've known him longer, but he was coming out in full force. We were still having a budding relationship. It was already a rocky start, which was your fault. And we were up here trying to build something, and he comes out here swinging like that. Note, we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be all over the place with game stuff. As things progress, it'll get smoother, but it's the first episode. You can't blame me. I don't fully know what I'm doing. We've attempted to do this in some form, actually 2 to 3 times by now. So this being the most recent attempt that I am actively trying to make sure sticks. The previous one was the debut video that we lost on YouTube. I'm still annoyed by that. I don't how does that video just disappear? Like, we knew what the title would have been. We knew what, especially the key terms of what was used. I don't know how we lost that video.
Hell, we lost the entire channel.
Well, that I understood how that happened, because it was when they merged with Google. That's what happened. So because before, YouTube had the accounts separate. You just had a YouTube account under whatever. But then they changed it and merged with Google, so you had to either merge it into a existing or create a new Google account, and then that's what all your YouTube stuff went into. But you had to do it within a certain window, and in order to do that, yeah, and if you didn't do it within that window, then you had no means of accessing the account with a username and password anymore, because it was based off of your email and a password, which was linked to Google, which was usually a Gmail email or whatever it is now. So that's how we lost the account. But it would have been fine if we just found the video itself. That's all I cared about, because you can link the video itself back to our other channels. Like we could have linked it to your primary one, which you need to get back to reviving, because you had the best chance of that popping off really crazy, and then you let it die. So I'm gonna need you to go necromancy that back.
Resurrect the channel.
Yeah, and then the bits and then like the bits and pieces of the various accounts that I created back in high school for the various things, because it's like what I had the dancing channel, I was under the guise of the Crumping King. That was an interesting time of my life. We had WPP, which was Wolfpack Productions. That endeavor, which was technically my first one, because I actually had a full team. Like I had an editor, we had the camera guys, we had the editor, we had the sound guy. I had a full team, and as far as I know, only 2 of them are actually actively still doing video work. I think one of them actually would be doing is like in games actually. Now that I think about it. And the other one is out being a superstar with weddings as a photographer, but that wasn't a surprise. And then...
Hey, good money in that business.
Oh, yeah. No, she's rolling. Like, because I wanted to book her for the wedding, and she was, like, booked out for, like, a solid year. I was like...
Oh, dang.
Damn. I was like, I'm not surprised. Like, I've seen your work in the early days, and you've only gotten better. So, like, obviously, everybody wants you to do their stuff. So, yeah, so this is still popping off. And then what was it? The stint I did when I was streaming to YouTube from my Nintendo Wii. That was a wild time. See, this is how you knew I was like true COD fan, like a true hardcore COD fan. I was playing COD on the MF Wii. The Wii, that was not meant to play an FPS, but I'm out here shooting people up with a nunchuck and a joystick. Oh man, that was wild. Frankly, but that was more comedic than anything, because there was a lot of gimmicky stuff in there. It was like, oh, you could like change your clan tag like colors, so like you could have like matching colors, like, or you had your name like to do ranks. So you like my clan, like we had like colored ranks. So like mine was one color being the leader, and then like my second in command was like another color that was complementary to mine, and then like the members were another. It was ridiculous. I was doing the most at that time, but some of my like most ridiculous like clips come from that time of me, especially on Nuketown, just chilling in the backside of the house, sniping anyone that walked by.
That was a fun map to throw tomahawks.
Yeah, that was fun too. I was like, all right, who can get the first tomahawk kill? Yeah. And then I think another was when Advanced Warfare came around. That was another time of me doing a lot of video clips. So there's a bunch of stuff of me just like inconsistently, unfortunately, doing stuff like this, like doing shows, doing like video clips, doing streams or whatever. Remember our Mixer days? That was fun.
I kind of wish like something like that was around.
Do you know why Mixer failed? Like I don't remember.
I don't know if it's because not enough people were using it, or honestly, it might have been that because Twitch was still was like the main thing that everyone streamed on.
Right, but I swear there was a bunch of people like switching the Mixer because Twitch was still on some BS with their algorithm, and like people like the toxicity in Twitch, and like I swear I saw like a bunch of like the big streamers at the time like switching to Mixer because it was so much easier because it was built into like the console. So all you had to do was like just boom from the console. You didn't have to have the OG OBS setup and all that, and your audio deck and all this craziness.
The owner said that it was because of a lack of users and too much competition from Twitch.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
I feel like with how Twitch has been operating lately, I honestly feel like Mixer will probably do better now.
But like I love how it's like too much competition, but like it was the only one. All you had to do.
Well, there was YouTube.
But were you there was but that was like pre-recorded though. Like live streaming hadn't really picked up yet, had it?
It was starting on YouTube. Like there was live streaming on YouTube at the time, but obviously it wasn't where it is now. But it did have it. So, and seeing as how YouTube was already like a big thing for recorded videos, like having YouTube and Twitch, but obviously Twitch is the main live stream area. So yeah, I mean, heck, maybe one day something that'll allow you to co-stream.
Because that's what I thought would make it like survive and like get through, because YouTube didn't have it. Not in like I don't even think they have it now. Well, maybe. No, okay. Of like a dual thing, because now it's really like TikTok or whatever. Like TikTok has it. But Twitch didn't have that kind of capability. It was something that was new. It was something that was practical, because you had a lot of these like Twitch streamers doing collabs with other Twitch streamers. Like seamless UI is like a mark of a good program, and it was so easy. It was literally like press 2 buttons and everything's set up. You didn't have to worry about anything. Like you didn't have to worry about losing your audio. You didn't have to worry about losing your like your video feed, because it's coming direct. There was no in between. There was no middleman. There was no loss anywhere. It was direct. And that's like super great. Like shit, why I'm always complaining about OBS is because like some of the features that I'm looking for is just not intuitive. It's a pain in my butt.
Yeah, OBS can be a little complicated at times.
So it's like I feel like I don't know if it was like a timing thing, and like I can see why like Twitch like being like a huge thing would have been a problem, but like if they did like a different kind of marketing strategy, I felt like it would have gotten more users, especially if they were focusing on that co-stream, because you could do like 4 at a time. And what was also great was that you could have the 4, you could watch all of them together, or you could jump to the channel of like the particular person. So like if you had like if we were popping off back then, you had my fans and like your fans and like Sacred's fans. All of them were already individually in in the stream or whatever, but then we could pull a greater audience together, because now it's showing as all of us together, and then it pops up. It was like, oh, what's going on here? It's like we got 3 point of views. I don't know. Obviously there's more that goes into running a business, and like money, and like you said, enough, like Magma said, it was like not enough users. So if you don't have enough to sustain it and give reason for your expenditure, like gotta pull the plug. I really wish like new stuff like that wasn't always like pushed down to the ground so bad by like the like Twitch or like YouTube.
Try to stick with it, and like, because how long did Mixer stay around?
I don't even think it made it for a year.
started in 2016.
Oh, according to this, it was like 4 years later.
Yeah.
Okay, so that had to be... Okay, so now I'm thinking that's more of just like bad marketing.
Yeah.
Because
At
if
that
you're
point,
around for 4 years, like even if it was like heavy competition, like you should have still had something that would have set you apart.
yeah, because like unlike Twitch that got promoted all over the place, it's like, well, yeah, heck, I didn't even know about Mixer until you brought it up.
Right. And frankly, it didn't even come to me until it was like showing up on the Xbox, like under the social stuff. So they hadn't even implemented it into their console stuff until later, which might, you can always, guess of what it would have been like if they pushed that out sooner.
Like if they pushed out sooner and added a lot of features that Twitch already had.
Yeah.
Because like, if I remember right, like there weren't like really emotes or sound cues or a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
It was really just streaming.
Which is kind of messed up, given that, because it's not really Twitch either. It's all the other stuff that is integrated with Twitch, because those are all like all third party stuff, and they're just like, oh hey, we'll allow you to write your program to be compatible with our service. So, and that just comes with time and like actually and notoriety, and like getting people like, oh, that want to develop plugins and apps for your service. Versus, and then not even just that, like I feel like they could have done both. Like a lot of those like apps or stuff, they will do it for multiple platforms so that they really expand their reach. So that would have just been like another pathing for them, at least in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm just some random guy.
I'm just a random gamer.
I'm just a random gamer. But it's always what am I saying? So before we wrap things up, because we are about a good 50 minutes in, and I don't want this to be the longest thing ever. I do want to know your opinion on the PC versus console debate that has literally spanned lifetimes.
Literally.
So, what without any real prompting, just whatever comes to mind when you hear the PC versus console debate, what do you have to say for that? And this was offered to me by my coworker Jacques. So when you get to this part, because I know he will listen, thank you for your contribution.
See, like if that question was asked, say like 5 years ago, I would say console like it can have a little bit of a leg up just because there were more exclusives for consoles back then. But like nowadays, like words exclusives, I was trying to say the big word and my mouth was just like no. But yeah, it's like nowadays like there aren't really many exclusives because like a lot of the PlayStation exclusives like they're coming to PC now. So it's like PC, in my opinion, is definitely inching out the consoles because one, obviously, uh, PCs you can get a lot better graphics and frame rates compared to consoles. I know the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are good. I haven't really used them, so I can't. I'm only saying what I've heard. But it's like with exclusives not being really exclusive anymore, and graphics being and frames being better on PC, like PC is definitely winning right now.
So. Right. So the to give from the perspective of Jacques, as I like to say his name. It's fun. I say his name in a different way each time. It's funny.
Jacques.
He is Jacques. He is like in the middle ground. So he is not as old as my father. So he's somewhere like in the middle ground. So like I'm pushing the big old 3-0.
You're old.
I'm old. So he's really old. But not too old. So he is more of from the time of like the LAN parties.
The dinosaurs?
Yes, Land Before Time. The Land Before Land. The LAN parties.
Well,
and
actually,
stuff
wouldn't
like
that be the Land Before WAN?
Yes, technically. For any of our more technical listeners, they'll understand why that's dumb and funny at the same time. And there was more. The PC had like the leg up on that one, because it was like, oh, you had bigger games, like you could play bigger games. So and then so he was like, WoW was like a big one, like when WoW first came out. That was like a big thing. Another one would have been, I don't think he played, but RuneScape is another one that comes, like old school RuneScape was a big game. And a lot of like the early MMOs. And then of course you still have like the classics, like, what is it, GoldenEye? 007?
Oh my god. That was so much fun.
And Doom. Shoot, even like going even further back, like Pong and Galaga and Pac-Man, and shoot, even Dig Dug, which is crazy because I didn't realize that like the other games of Namco were so much. Like I didn't know they had so many more games, but like Pac-Man and Galaga was just so prevalent that the rest of them just kind of didn't think. Because like I didn't even know like Dig Dug existed until like well into my teens. Oh no, it's a great game. Mildly concerning, given the fact that you're blowing people up, legitimately blowing people up, like with air tube. It's weird, but yeah, no, it was freaking crazy. But yeah, not really sure what else, like really what the big arguments would have been of like, the more hardcore like console only people and like the PC only, outside of like availability, because I feel like you either had enough money to get a console or you had enough money to have a computer, not really both, or it wasn't really a time where it was like seen for both. Like now, like he was like, you ask someone who's probably like around like Magma's age, like they're like, oh, I got Xbox One, PS4, PS5, I got Nintendo Switch, I got like my 3DS from like my first like, though, like listing of things where they're like an evolution of gaming, like that they own themselves, versus oh yeah, I remember I had this one and then I like had to trade that one in to get the new one, and like saying like what I had to do. Like that's why I don't still have my stuff, because one led into the other. Like I didn't get to keep that because I didn't have the money. I had to pay for most of that stuff myself, or at least contribute most of it to myself. I would get stuff like for gifts and for like for the holidays and my birthday and stuff like that, but it was never like people in my family didn't have like bands like that where they could be like, you want a new PlayStation? I got you. I was like, what? No. You had to go to a friend's house that had a PlayStation, and you had to go to another friend's house that had a GameCube, and then God forbid you forgot your memory card.
Oh god.
Because then all bets are off. The whole night is ruined. Ruined. Capital or ruined. Just over. So, with that being said, want to let's do my part to combat and address the negativity and nonsense that is in the gaming community, which is the closing message being, don't be toxic. Stop being a-holes to people, guys. Just stop. We're like, it's not necessary. We're all
like,
here
just have fun.
to have fun, get away from our long days of work or whatever you may do in your life. Whatever the purpose of you playing a game is, it was meant to bring you some peace, some happiness, some other countering emotion to whatever you may be going through at the time. And it is getting ruined by toxic a-holes. Stop it. Just go away. Like, Xbox 360 died, so should the attitude of the chat. Just stop. We're not in a COD lobby. Just stop. And even if you are in a COD lobby, stop it. There's trash talk and then there's toxic behavior. There's a difference. If you don't know, you are the worst one. And that's my 2 cents on that. So with that, I'm Dragon. Thank you for joining me, Magma in the Shadows, and Infernal for popping back in with this for its 3rd attempt to get this going. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So
3rd time's the charm.
3rd time's the charm. So this will be live Friday. So when you hear this, it should be Friday that has gone live. That will be the release time for all future episodes. And hopefully I get to a point where you have to ignore me because I'm doing an ad. Because that means I reached a point where I can get some side money. And that is, well, that's cool. It's not the point of what I'm doing this for, but that would be cool to get a little side money. Because then I can buy other stuff and play more games. So that's really what it is. Help me get money to play more games to then tell you about the nonsense I've gotten myself into.
And eventually do this while playing games.
And then do it while playing games. So, like, we might get to a point where we're doing the video, might get the stream back up. There is a Reddit. We do have a Reddit community for the podcast. I did make that today. So I will put that in the description to look out for that. And let's build the Dragon's Horde. Let's grow and hope that everyone doesn't find that weird that I'm calling them my horde. Dragonlings? We'll figure it out. Well, when we get fans, then we can worry about what the fans want to be called.
The hatchlings.
The hatchlings. See, these are good things. I like where this is going, and I hope that I get enough people following and enjoying and interacting to actually find out what we're going to call them. Until then, thank you for joining us at the Dragon's Den. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.